Today's landing. Ooh, that was catching me off guard. Tonight's land acknowledgement is going to be provided by Delisha. So Delisha, please take it away. No problem. Delisha just says in the chat that she's just driving home. Do you want to maybe do your land acknowledgement when you are in the one place, maybe when you get back to where you're supposed to be? Sorry, I won't make you text and drive. Actually, don't respond to that. I'll do an acknowledgement super quickly, and then Delisha will be able to provide her acknowledgement that she got together before. We're just calling in right now from the unceded stolen territories of the Lekwungen and Wasanich peoples. Right now I'm calling in from my home, which is near campus. Even though we're virtual, we still conduct our work primarily out of the Student Union building, which is on campus. Thanks. Sorry, that's not super prepared, but Delisha will do hers when she's back. Does anyone have anything to add at the very beginning of the meeting here? Okay, seeing none. Moving on to the adoption of the agenda. Could I please have a mover for the adoption of the agenda? Thank you, Josh. And Nigel, thank you for seconding. Do we have any, I know we do have some amendments to today's agenda, so please pop an X in the chat. Kishal.
Yeah, hi. I just need to change my report that I submitted a little bit. So can I just put it in the chat?
Yeah, please put it in the chat. I'm sorry, we do have to do these one by one, so. Okay, Nigel, sounds good. I got the speakers list going, folks. So we'll do Kishal's motion to amend the agenda first. We'll vote on Kishal's amendment, and then we'll get down to adding the board reports as well, and then vote on the agenda as amended as a whole. Kishal, did you send your thing just in the chat really quickly?
Should I do it right now?
Yeah, go for it, because we just have to vote on it. Just one second, sorry, folks. Okay, sounds good. May I please have a seconder for Kishal's amendment to the agenda? Thank you, Effie. Is there any discussion on Kishal's amendment? Seeing none, please vote on Kishal's amendment to the agenda. Thank you, folks. That vote carries. Next on the speakers list was Marielle.
Okay, so I have two small ones I have to add in my director's report, but since I'm seeing a number of motions, I'm just going to add it there, omnibus later. I do need to add in a club ratification. Can I do that now?
Yeah, you can amend the agenda to add that motion.
Let's do that.
And if you just want to pop it in the chat, that would be good as well. Yep. May I have a seconder for Marielle's amendment to add the motion? Thank you, Q. And you're just doing this one, right? Just adding this motion right now?
And I'll do it the other thing with everyone later.
That's good. Is there any discussion on, sorry. Is there any discussion on Marielle's amendment to add this motion? It's just for the, I guess because folks can't read the chats, just be it resolved the following clubs ratified without funding the Uvic Car Club. Seeing none, please vote on Marielle's amendment, her first one there. Thank you, folks. This carries. And next on the speakers list is Nigel, but Marielle, you talked about wanting to omnibus a bunch of director reports.
Can I throw in another amendment and then we can just do this all together?
Absolutely. So on the speakers list was Nigel, Effie, and then Deb. Did you folks all had directors reports to submit, or were those different amendments?
I think, okay, actually, I think mine, I can just do as a friendly amendment, so we don't need to vote on it, correct? Because it's just for the motion that's already on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, so disregard me then.
Okay, sounds good. But Effie and Deb, absolutely. And Dip as well. Okay, yeah. So if all the folks who have board reports to submit to the agenda, please pop them in the chat now so that Steph and Kiara have the ability to grab them for the minutes. And Marielle's moved to omnibus all of these, so they're all going to go in at the same time.
Also, I'm seeing that Delisha would like to add their board report. Can we do it preemptively? So just like, can I omnibus that later when she has capacity to copy and paste it? Like, how would this work best for everyone?
I think Delisha might be back now.
Yeah, I'm back now. Sorry, I thought I could zip really quickly to pick up my sister and it didn't work out, but I'm here.
No, that's absolutely.
Thank you though, Marielle. That was very kind.
Okay. That's okay. Deb, Steph and Kiara already have mine because I sent it in an email earlier, just because it's so long. Okay. Is there any more director reports to add? There's Alicia's. Okay, great. Can I have a seconder really quickly for this amendment? Thank you, Shilpa. And as a reminder, I forgot this time as well, but just if we could do our very best to submit them before 9 a.m. on Friday, so we don't have to do this whole process every time, that would be awesome. But it's hard to remember sometimes, especially after the AGM. Okay, is there any discussion at all on this? Yes, Kathleen.
Hey, just following along. So it sounds like a bunch of director reports are being added, but Marin's director report isn't in the chat. So how are we supposed to approve it?
Oh, Deborah just posted it in the chat, actually. Thank you for that. So it should be there now. Any other discussion at all? No problem. Okay, folks, please vote on Marielle's omnibus motion to amend. Thank you. This vote carries. Is there any other amendments to today's agenda? Seeing none. Okay, sorry, it's just when there's a lot of amendments, it's hard to keep track of what's going on. See, please vote on the agenda as, sorry, I'm gonna be weirdly typing, agenda as amended to approve that for today. Just one sec. Love living at home with my family. Just told them to go away. This motion carries. Thanks, folks. Moving on to the adoption of the minutes. May I please have a mover for the adoption of the minutes? Thank you, Nigel, and thank you, seconded by Kishaw. Is there any amendments or comments on the adoption of the minutes from our last meeting, which was October 18th? Seeing none, please vote on the adoption of the minutes. This motion carries. Thank you, folks. Moving on to presentations and announcements. Delisha, is this a good time for you to do your territory acknowledgement?
Yeah, sure. Kind of just building off what you've already shared. With the territorial acknowledgements, I think it's really important to acknowledge an activity and how you're going to, not just making an acknowledgement and letting it be passive. So in making this acknowledgement, I commit to walk softly and mindfully on this land and work to uphold decolonization and Indigenous self-determination. And I am in the same territory as Marin right now. And I acknowledge that I'm living and working here as a guest, and I am privileged to make this place my home. So thank you for listening to my little acknowledgement.
Thank you, Delisha. Yeah, we're in presentations and announcements area. So is there any presentations or announcements that folks want to make right now? Q.
Thanks, Alicia, for the territory acknowledgement. On Friday, we have a hot lunch event. It's from 12 to 2, and it's with Campus Community Garden and Community Cabbage and Community Food Support and Community Fridge and the hot lunch program. So if you are able to come out and say hi, you can also get some free food, and you can also volunteer if you want. I would love one more volunteer if anyone has time, but if you don't, no problem. That's all.
Thanks, Q. Robin.
Thank you, Q. I'm so excited about that. It's going to be amazing. I have a motion in the agenda today, and I was hoping that the way that I could move the motion was actually playing a little video. Is that better like right now or for when we're actually talking about that motion?
I think it would make sense right as we're talking about the motion, like right
Yeah,
after I
okay.
read the
Sounds good.
all that. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So it's in our brains. Great. Any other presentations or announcements? Okay. Moving on to reports. First of all, so we have a report from the exclusion.
Unless Charlene has anything, I know we've got an action-packed agenda, so nothing really interesting to report.
I got nothing to add.
Sounds good. Moving on to portfolios. First up is campaigns and community relations.
That is me. I'm getting distracted by the chat. And all this talk about curry is making me really hungry. Okay, my report. I don't even know what's been happening. We had a huge, successful Divest Fest on Friday, which was so cool. Big, huge shout out to Haley for putting in so much time and energy into that, and so much organizing and all that. It was amazing. And also for Q and Hot Lunch and all that they did for making sure things happened on time and helping me keep organized. And yeah, just super grateful for the incredible way that teamwork came together to really run that event. It was really cool to just experience and see. And I'm not sure if any of you were able to stop by, but it was pretty cool. We had some incredible performers, 4 of them, and they were all really good. We had some great food. We had pumpkin painting. They're little pumpkins. They're really cute. We had a button maker. We had tabling for the Mom Tequila rematriation project that's happening. Yeah, it was awesome. And also just some really great conversations, and in preparation for the march that Divest Uvic is running on Friday. So that's going to be a rally to the Michael Williams building, or an undisclosed location, but that's where it's going to be. And banner drop. Yeah, thanks, Rowan. Yeah, and then other things that have been happening. We had a lot of divesting, so a lot of organizing for that. I also chaired the first student advisory committee for the Victoria Regional Transit Commission. So that committee was created when the requests and lobbying to create a student, like a voting student seat on the Victoria Regional Transit Commission were denied. So this committee was created from that. And so that involves Camosun, Student Society, as well as us and the Graduate Student Society and a representative from the VRTC. And so that went as well as it could go, I think. We've also been debriefing Sexualized Violence Awareness Week and doing some Let's Get Consensual thinking and meetings. Yeah, as well as AGM stuff. And yeah, awesome.
Thanks, Robin. That's so awesome. I remember I joined the UVSS board because I joined Divest. And so I love everything that Divest does. It's awesome. Moving on to finance and operations, Deb, or whomever.
I'm here. Just my camera is being very uncooperative right now, so you're gonna have to be content with my voice for today. Hello, everyone. It's been, of course, a very eventful week or a couple of weeks. Within my portfolio, there's been so many hiring committees, and you will see, you will see that in the in-camera portion, we have, I think, 2 of them coming up right now. Other than that, there's been a bunch of UPass appeals. We're getting ready for the health and dental appeals as well. We should be seeing them coming up to us pretty soon in that committee. We had the AGM presentation that was presented, which was quite extensive and gave details about majority of the financial status of the society, and in short, we are in good health according to the opinions of an independent auditing firm, so we're good in that front. Oh, and exciting thing that's going to come up today is about EcoFoot, which we've been working very hard for so long. And it's finally up to the it has finally come to the board, and we're already getting a lot of interest for it. So I'm really happy to see that students are interested in this particular program, and we're excited to hear from everyone's perspective.
Thank you, Dip. Kathleen, you have an X in the chat.
Yeah, thank you. I checked the transcript. I misheard. There was something about there's a bunch of fields or something, and we're getting ready for health and mental something. It's a committee. Dip, do you know what I'm talking about? And could you repeat that part?
Oh, that's the Health and Dental Appeals Committee. Usually now is the time when the appeals committee is active, because the opt-out period and change of coverage period is out. So any further thing, students can submit an appeals up till the last day of classes. And we're starting to tackle the work of that committee right now.
Thanks, folks. Next up is outreach and university relations. I can provide the update for that one. Past couple weeks, obviously, have been, or we're full on planning the AGM and everything that goes along with that. And I've said that at our last board meeting as well. But kind of on the side, I'm on, or I was on 2. Now I'm on 1 hiring committee for the administration and services manager, and now also the marketing and events coordinator, because Laura is taking leave because she is going to have bebe. Attended the regular committees that I always do. Also held on online office hours, signed some checks. I reviewed some materials because I'm on a Senate committee for academic standards. within all this, and I'm the ICAT training, which was on Friday. If you want to hear more, just check a look at my board report, but that's basically all. Deb or Kit, do you want to add anything? All good if not. Moving on to student affairs.
Hi folks, how are you? Okay, the fun one was that I helped out with the Halloween trick or treat with Advo groups last Friday, and it was lovely. We got lots of interaction, and I'm proud of Christina from the Gem for hosting that. Shout out. I did lots of check-ins this past 2 weeks. I think I checked in with SOC, Gem, CCG, and UVSP. Also hosted ARC and a coordinators meeting. Welcome Noella from NSU. They're the newest firekeeper. You'll get to meet them in just a second, but just, you know, building up suspense. Other than that, I'm on a number of hiring committees, catering coordinator, general office manager, and as always, provost, which should be wrapping up soon-ish. And then lots of little admin things like helping out with questions and troubleshooting room bookings. Yeah, fun things. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Marielle. Moving on to events. Q.
Hello. Same recurring meetings as always. Worked a bit with some student advocacy work alongside SSD. We got to take part partnering with the Vikes Kick Cancer event. So that was really fun. And lots of hot lunch things. So Divest Fest was a collaborative event with, did I say that right? Whatever. Yeah, hot lunch last week with Divest. And I was also on the ASM hiring committee. Hi, Amanda. And also writing lots of like write-ups and like doing social media, planning post thingies for book club and also hot lunch and also the Vikes Kick Cancer thing. Yes, that was the main things that I did this week.
Thank you, Q. Moving on to international student relations.
Thanks, Maren. Just a quick big shout out to Kishal and the Food Bank Free Store who hosted their international food event, which was amazing and had a huge turnout. And so it was really cool to see ISR was able to table there and was able to get a lot of support for the MSP and tuition initiatives that we're working on. And so we're really excited to be finally putting together some of those testaments and writing up the lobby doc that will be getting out in January. But the heat of the GSS and ISR, we are looking at our next opportunities of promoting the MSP petition in that campaign. And one of those will be the upcoming Global Days that the Office of Global Engagement is putting on, and that will be helping them out with. So the Uvic Global Days will be on November 15th through 19th, and it's the first of this event that Uvic is doing, and it's there to highlight Uvic's international reach and impact, and it's a series of in-person and virtual events just celebrating globally oriented visions for the future of international education. And then the main theme being sustainable development goals, having to do with the 17 global sustainable development goals that the United Nations has. And so Marielle, I'm actually looking to reach out to you after my last conversation with Mark, just to see what kind of outreach we can do with clubs and just getting this information out to clubs and seeing if there's any club leaders that are interested in creating any more events for this, talks for this event. So that's really exciting. But that has been ISR of late.
Thanks, Josh. Moving on to committees and councils. First up is the electoral committee, and in which there is no update because we're not doing a fall electoral event. And next up is the executive committee. Does someone from exec want to do an update? There's not really much of an update as of right now. Okay, moving on to the food bank and free store.
Hey, yeah. So we had the International Food Fair, which was a big success. Almost 300 people came. And we also had the fundraiser Stocktober last week, and we raised more than $8,500 and got a lot of donations, which was really awesome. And the only other update is that we have now started delivering food for people who can't come to the food bank. So if you know of people who can't come here but need food, you can direct them to our delivery eligibility survey on our website. Thanks.
Thanks, Kashal. Moving on to the Peer Support Center. Does anyone have an update for those folks?
Hi, sorry.
Sorry.
I have so many tabs right now. Sarah so kindly put a little update together for me to say, and so they're done training all their newest cohort of volunteers, and they're running back at their full capacity, and they've seen an increase in visitors at the center, and they're not sure if this is due to the increased promotion because they've been working really hard on their social media and outreach techniques, or if it's just being more open more often, or if people are just stressed out right now. Moving forward, they're hoping to have a couple more fun and de-stressing events as they move into exams.
Thanks, Delisha. Moving on to constituency organizations and the NSU. First up is Jem.
Hey everyone. So our advocacy trick or treat went really well on the 29th. We had, I would guess, between 40 and 60 people come into the gem space, although I wasn't there for the entire period of the event. And we are planning our AGM for November 18th after reading break. So we'll have more information about that up on our social media and website soon. And that's everything that we have on the go at the minute. We were pretty busy prepping for that ADVO event, but we're super happy that it went so well.
Thanks, Kai. Moving on to the NSU, Noella.
Hi, everyone. A lot of familiar faces in here. It's good to see people and hear them, in spirit. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to really address or deliver. We have all of our collaborative workshops with SOFAR and SOC coming up. The dates are on our website. Yeah, that's exciting. I don't actually know how the sub trick-or-treating went because I was busy with another event doing facilitation. But I think it was a good time. So yeah, that's all.
Thanks, Noella. It's really lovely to have you here and have your position be filled. Super excited to meet you and get to know you. Moving on to Pride. Effie.
Hi, Pride was also a part of the Halloween trick-or-treat event, and just this week has been the busiest the Pride Room's been all year, and according to Nate, like in the past 5 years or so that he's been here, it's been the busiest. So that's mostly where I've been focusing. I think we're hiring one more work study student or having interviews, so that's happening too. Otherwise, not much going on here.
That's awesome to hear. That's really awesome to hear. Moving on to SOC. Gina.
Hey, so from art therapy to our AGM, our October events and meetings went really well. We have 3 events planned for this month to bring BIPOC students together to build community. The deadline to apply for our PERS scene is November 16th. This is for all BIPOC artists based in Victoria. Themes are here and now, time and space, and here with generations. These next issues of PERS will be printed. Last but not least, our artist in residence, Robin, will be working on a film project centering BIPOC artists at Uvic on the topic of decolonizations. BIPOC Uvic artists of any medium are invited to send in applications for considerations. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Gina. And moving on to SSD, Delisha.
Hi again. We have a lot going on, and I'm really excited that hopefully Natalie is coming back at the end of this month, because Julia and I are drowning doing 2 positions, and it's quite a lot of work. We're really excited and honored to be partnering with Q to advocate for student accessibility in regards to the gym facilities. It's something that has been coming up for quite a while, so to have something tangible happening is really nice. And thank you, Q, for all of the hard work that you are doing with us. Continuing to work on our Access for All campaign, we're streamlining some of our programming, and we've begun to work with the council in an effort to repair some of our relationships and cultivate more open communication between staff and exec and council. And we're also looking at having more council involvement, which has proven to be quite a lot of work. So we're focusing on that and moving that into our strategic plan. Thank you.
Thanks, Delisha. It's awesome to have all 5 constituency organization reps here at the same time. It's really awesome. Feel so lucky. Moving on to question period, we have 15 minutes allotted for some questions, but as per usual, folks can ask questions if anything's unclear or anything at any time during the meeting. But we've got next in the chat. So Mary.
Hi folks, I'm here from the Martlet. I think I've just got one question for you all. What steps will you be taking to implement the motion from the AGM that requires DAL representation to be largely by faculty?
I can answer that one, Mary. I'm going to answer it by saying we're actually going to be meeting and talking about this as a board in our in-camera session at this meeting. So we'll be able to give you more answers and more details about what it's going to look like moving forward after we have this discussion.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions for right now? Okay, sounds good. Let's move on to some priority business. Motion 2 is moved by Robin. I'm just going to say the be it resolved clause, but be it resolved that the UVSS donates $1,000 to the, I don't know how to pronounce this word, Mamtagila Rematriation Project. And Robin, do you want me to make you a co-host, or hold on, before we do this, can I have a seconder, please? Sorry, folks. Thanks, Q. Robin, do you want to motivate? Take it away.
Yeah, I would actually love if people could read the motion and all the whereas clauses, and then we could watch like a quick little video. I know we have like a long meeting, but that way I think yeah, and I can read it out if people would prefer that. Maybe I don't think people can send a message. Oh, you can, because I'm co-host now. Send a message to me if you'd like me to read it out, but I also know that sometimes it's nice to just like take your own time to read it. So maybe we can take like 5 minutes to read it, and then I'll share my screen quickly.
Sure, Robin. your call. It's your motivation time. So
yeah, let's do, no one's messaged me to read it out, so let's do 5 minutes. So 6:45, we'll come back and yeah. All right, if you haven't had a chance to finish it, we'll have a bit more time. I think that we can probably jump to just watching a little bit of this video that was put together, just because it's better motivation than me talking about it. We won't watch the whole thing. I think the whole thing's like 7 minutes. We'll just watch a few minutes. And then I'll chat a bit more after and then we can, yeah, bring this up. So I'm just going to share my screen if I can remember how.
and when you do so, remember to click the little box that says share sound as well, so that you'll be able to share the sound of the
Thank
video.
you. Do I want to optimize for video clip? Yes, because we're watching a video. Okay. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to be able to access my. So if it doesn't, then let me know. Can everyone see my screen right now? Can you just give me a thumbs up if you can? Okay, awesome. All right, let me know if you can't hear anything. You can? Okay, awesome. I can't hear anything, so that's fine.
My name is Tsaklalis. I am from the Montague people. I'm a great grandmother.
Nugua Makwala, Gaithanlacha Mump Tequila. My name is Dakota Smith and I come from the Ambers family.
The abandonment of our villages came from amalgamations that were forced on our people, and it's because the population was so low because of smallpox. My dream is to have a village once more.
What we're doing here right now is building that place.
A tourist can go out on a boat and go visit the territory and that, but our people don't have access to even go into our abandoned villages. One of the dreams that we have is to buy a boat, and I'd like the boat to be utilized by people that are wanting to move home.
It's so important to have a space to go home to when you're dealing with the effects of colonization, intergenerational trauma from residential schools, the suicide epidemics, creating a space for our people to come home to. It's more than just a place to live or a place to live traditionally. It's a place of healing. Places like this can save our people.
Asked for our house to be built in our Tutsi style. The outer part is all cedar paneling, and of course it'll have the seagull on it. It'll be a two-spirit building. It actually wasn't until I was with so many at the legend that I finally had to look at myself and acknowledge that I was two-spirited too. It's something I denied myself all my life. And we should not have to live like that. The two-spirited people from our culture were held up high.
Whenever Indigenous people stand up and reclaim our own space just to exist, it's considered a threat to industry. It's a threat to business as usual. They know that we have title to the land. I've already been fighting fish farms.
Last year,
Hey everyone, I can send the link to folks who want to finish that, but I did just want to stop it there. So I'm not sure if any of you recognize the little big house, as they call it, that was in one of those last clips there. That was actually built on campus. So I know there's a lot of undergrad involvement. I remember volunteering to help build it and table. And there's like so many students that helped out. It was built kind of just out front of the sub there, which is really cool. So a really cool connection to our students and to Uvic and the UVSS. And yeah, so supporting work on the land for SAS to be there and to have an ongoing relationship is really important, especially when we consider decolonization, and it was just expressed so beautifully in that little clip. And I think it's just important to for us to recognize there's been a lot of students in the past and now. They've been tabling recently, a lot of student involvement to help this journey. And yeah, so there's a really incredible connection with our undergrad students, and this donation would help raise funds to be used to support Mamtagila reoccupation of their own lands, and it would help cover expenses for maintaining camp, basic living, setting up infrastructure, building materials, food, and all that sort of thing. So I will post those the video in the chat and another little link. And yeah, I think that's all the motivating I want to do. I think that it's important that, I know this is something that I was approached with, and I think it's important to recognize as like, it's a really cool opportunity for the UVSS to support some like true decolonization efforts. There's this, like, this is academic, but a reading called Decolonization is Not a Metaphor. And it's just like a reminder that we really need to put action into like what we're doing. Yeah, and Q, you have an X.
Thanks, Robin, and thank you for bringing this motion forward. I am just looking at some past minutes from the 2020 board. And there was also a motion that passed on be it further resolved that the UVSS endorsed the Week of Solidarity that has been called for by hereditary chiefs of the Wet'suwet'en. And there's other like, be it further resolve the. So anyways, the UVSS has been historically supportive of like different occupations, like at the legislature, in support of Wet'suwet'en, in support of decolonization, as that has recently been added to our MVV, mission, vision, values. And so it would be consistent with our values if we did support in this way, but in a monetary, financial, and material way, as opposed to participating in a statement that doesn't necessarily take action.
Dip, you're up next. And yeah, discussion is now open, folks. So if you want to ask questions or pop an X in the chat, go for it now.
Hi, I think this is a great motion and we should definitely be supporting it. I just have a clarifying question. It does not tell where the fund comes from. If you could clarify that, Robin.
Yeah, so from the UVSS donation fund is what I was hoping, but if that's not possible, then maybe that's a discussion that we should have, so that it is coming from a place that we have funds. We can maybe amend it to specify.
Dip, do you have a response to Robin's point there, or?
We can definitely do that. I'm just gonna check up on the budget and where we are right now. I believe we should be okay with that. Yeah, I'm just gonna take a double look and let you know. Just a minute.
Yeah, folks, I think I've read that article too. Jaleesa just put the decolonization is not a metaphor article in the chat. I think it should be widely available, at least to us as Uvic students, on some kind of library website. Is there any other discussion or questions, or you can also speak in support of a motion as well instead of asking a question. Do folks feel comfy to wait to vote before we know where the money's coming from, or Robin, up to you?
Maybe we could vote on an unspecified amount, just say up to $1,000, if we can make that amendment, and then see where the money is coming from. If it can't all come from the donation budget, then it's possible that like the campaign's budget could have some, and we could pass that in a campaigns meeting or something like that. Yeah. Are we comfy with that? And then we do have it here. Yeah, Maria.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we also have advocacy constituency joint fund. So if it's not in the donations budget, I'm sure we can figure something out.
Okay, perfect. And Kathleen?
I love this proposal, and I think that, like you said, Robin, it's really important that we do some actions to enact the values of decolonization. I think it's like a value, like a dollar value that shows commitment and will be used in like a very material way. Yeah, I think as far as like suggesting making donations, I would appreciate, as still like a first year board member, I guess, I would appreciate more information about, like I know we have a budget for donations, but like, is this how we usually spend it? Is just like you make a motion and you make a budget? I guess that's just a general question for everyone, not for Robin. But yeah, I think we should keep the motion like the way it is, like the $1,000 if we can. So if anyone wants to answer my question, let me know.
I guess I was just looking to dip maybe for an answer to that question. If you have the answer. Also, if we don't necessarily specify where the money's coming from, then I guess we could take it from, like if we don't specify, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, dip.
Yeah, I checked up on it. We should be good right now. So to answers Kathleen's question, usually the exec committee makes a recommendation and then it goes to the board. However, it is up to the board ultimately to decide on the fate of it. So we should be good as far as the donations budget is to make this donation.
Thanks, Dip. Is there any more discussion on this motion at all? Motion 2? Seeing none, please vote on motion 2. Vote donating $1,000 to the Mamtagilo rematriation project. Thanks for voting, folks. This motion carries. Seeing that it's now 6:58, I think we should do a quick 5-10 minute recess before we carry on, because we're already an hour in. Can I have somebody move for a recess, please? Thank you, Nigel. And a little seconder. Thank you, Sid. Folks can vote if they want, but you can call for a recess. I'll see you back at 7:09 to continue the discussion. Thanks all. Hi, everyone. Welcome back from your little naps to the meeting. Let's leave a minute or so, or a few seconds for folks to come back. And if you don't want to turn on your camera, just give me a little emoji or a little wave or something, just so that I know folks are here. That'd be super nice. Awesome. Great. Lovely. Moving on to motion 3, as recommended by FinOps Committee and Policy Development Committee. Be it resolved that Board of Directors Policy Section 4, Part 2 be amended to include the following. That one is moved by Nigel. Could I please have a seconder? Thank you, Deborah. Nigel, I understand you have a couple things to attend to here. Take it away.
Yeah, so I'm just going to do a little friendly amendment. I just threw the link in the chat a few minutes ago. Just that the amendment is just to open nominations for co-chair of the working group and for directors for the working group. Should I motivate now? Okay, yeah. So for those of you who, or some of you probably know, but others may not, that EcoFoot has existed as an informal working group for the past 2 years or so. It was initially created by Caleb Bird when he was the director at large, and then continued when he was Director of FinOps. So this motion today is designed to formalize EcoFoot as a distinct body within the UVSS and create a dedicated institutional structure that will aim to address sustainability within the student union building. So in previous years, I believe things they've done have included the cup and mug bank, and also I think they purchased like metal ramekins for fells. So yeah, it's basically working on sort of like internal sustainability stuff. This policy aligns with the UVSS values of environmental sustainability and also the value of governance. And this structure that is being created with this policy is important for 2 reasons. First of all, it's creating a forum to engage with our student community. And then secondly, it's creating an accountability mechanism for the UVSS with respect to sustainability. So again, the scope of this working group is to address operational sustainability within the sub, and then also to create a structure for members, clubs, and other constituency groups, and those who are passionate about sustainability to get involved and engage with the UVSS. I'll let members read the policy on their own time because it's kind of long, so I don't want to read the whole thing here. So hopefully you've had a chance to look it over. But yeah, I encourage directors to put themselves forwards to fill the director positions on the working group. Yeah.
Thanks, Nigel. I'll just read aloud the now amended motion, just because I have it up on the minutes here. So it's, be it resolved that, yes, the Board of Directors Policy Section 4, Part 2 be amended to include the following terms of reference, and be it further resolved that nominations are open for 1 director as co-chair of the EcoFoot Working Group, and be it further resolved that nominations are open for 4 directors on the EcoFoot Working Group. So yes, discussion is now open. Please pop an X in the chat if you'd want to ask questions or speak in support or in not support of this motion. Also, if you, not that I want folks to do that necessarily, but I don't have an opinion, I guess, because I'm the chair. Or an X if you want to nominate yourself to be part of the working group. The chat is free. Nigel.
I nominate myself for co-chair.
Thank you. Nigel's nominated himself as co-chair, and Dip.
Nigel's on top of it, so I give back my time.
Any other nominations? Questions? Kathleen.
Hi, yeah, so I saw this in policy, I guess, and I had the same question, but I'll bring it to the group. I'm just wondering about, as far as like section D about membership, you want the Director of Finance and Operations to be the co-chair, and then one Board of Directors member to be a co-chair, and then 4 people also appointed from the Board of Directors for a total of 6. And we have, that's like, you know, a quarter of the board, or that's more than a quarter of the board. So I'm just wondering like what the time commitment is, and if maybe we could do a straw vote to see, not a straw vote, but poll to see if we have like the capacity within the board to fill those 6 positions.
In terms of like what kind of commitment it would be, I'm not totally sure, just because like I wasn't involved with EcoFoot in previous years. Dip, maybe do you have a answer for that? Were you involved by chance? I don't know.
I can answer that. So because we are changing up the structure quite a bit, it will depend on the committee on what they want to bring forward. I will of course be there to support and co-chair the committee, which means through my portfolio work, that would be a part of the focus. So to basically succinctly answer your questions is, we don't know. It really depends on how much we want to achieve, which is why I think the the report that the committee aims to publish at the end of the year is going to be very helpful.
I think as well, what we've done in the past when nominations haven't been filled, this can either be, we can vote on the nominees and to pass the policy today, but then it can be a reoccurring motion to get board members to be in as the directors on the actual working group, if that makes sense. I don't know if that made sense. Are there any other comments, questions, or folks that want to nominate themselves to be on the working group? Right now, we only have Nigel as nominated as the co-chair, and that is uncontested. Rowan.
Yeah, sorry about my hair. It's a little messy right now. But yeah, I'd like to nominate myself for the working group, not as co-chair. That's all Nigel. I'd like to be a part.
Thank you. Movember in full effect.
Sure, guys.
That's funny. Josh, go ahead.
Quick question, like how often, I don't know if I missed this, how often is the group going to be meeting?
Just to respond, like it'll depend on what the group wants to take on. When I spoke with Caleb, I think he said that EcoFoot met in total 3 times last year, but also this like policy kind of changes, or well, creates a structure for the committee, so it might be different. Again, I think it's like depending on how much the members want to put into it, really.
Kathleen's next on the speaker's list.
So the quorum is 1 co-chair and at least 2 other voting members. And like any member of UVSS who attends 3 meetings will receive voting rights, which makes it open, right? Like this is a change, I think, from the campaigns group. And so that just seems like, I don't know, I'm not comparing this to any of our other terms of reference, but it seems to me like pretty easily swayed then by like just a couple people. And yet there's like, and with having so many people as members, like I just question the effectiveness of that. And I'm wondering, like, is that what most of our committees are? Because I thought most of our committees were like 2/3 at committees, or if someone can clarify that for me.
I can quickly clarify. I know that quorum is different than voting, like quorum and like the amount of people that like majority for voting is different. So that's the only addition that I have. I don't know about our other committees at this point.
Yeah, I guess it means that like if there's 3 people at the meeting, then that's quorum. And then 2 of those people need to vote for things for it to be passed. Is that correct?
I guess I would assume so. For folks who have written this, please feel free to
Yes,
answer the
that's
question.
correct. And to answer the other part of that question, like part of the reason that this is designed to be open is to encourage members of the UVSS to get involved with the society, like, because we don't want this just to be like the board of directors, us alone making the decisions. Like, we're trying to create some kind of collaborative structure here.
Dip, you're up next on the speakers list.
Yeah, so it basically follows most of our committees when they are newly established. The reason being is also there's the difference between a specific committee and a working group, which is why it's titled as such. So a working group is meant to be a focused kind of a committee with a dedicated or a sort of an pre-known outcome. Let's say that I'm not describing it very well, but you get the idea. So because of that, the type of things on the agenda is known. What we are trying to do is basically steer the different campaigns that we have within the sub to improve, or maybe if we want to start a new campaign or do some new sustainability work. So because of that, and because of the fact that it is a very new committee, it needs to be able to meet quorum, even if there's not a lot of interest, and we can change what we want in the structure of the committee based on how much of an interest it takes up.
Marielle, you're next up.
Sweet. Could I nominate myself since I get lots of emails from clubs and things, and so it'll just be easier to have that connection with y'all. Sweet, thank you.
And Haley.
Yeah, I love this idea so much. It like really excites me. I don't know if there's still room, but if there is, I'd like to nominate myself.
Yeah, there is room, and even if more folks can nominate themselves than there are positions, that is okay too, and we can do a little vote. But however, as it stands right now, it's all filled up. So we've got Nigel nominated himself as co-chair, and Rowan, John nominees for the directors. So any other questions or things folks want to say? Seeing none, please vote on motion 3, which is adopting this policy into the board of directors policy, as well as nominating Nigel, Rowan, Josh, Marielle, and Haley onto the committee. Please vote. Thanks, everyone. This motion carries, I guess. Not I guess, but congratulations. Q.
I'm so curious about democratic rules of order or whatever. Just a clarification, if they nominated themselves, can they vote for themselves yes in? And if so, what would be the quorum? If they can't, what would be the quorum? I think they all get in, but I'm just curious. Okay, sweet.
Steph says they can. Yeah.
It's only Nigel who can't vote, I think, right? Because he moved.
You can vote as the mover. Only the chair can't vote.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
And folks that aren't board members, obviously. Well, congratulations. That is very exciting. Looking forward to see the work that working group does. Moving on to, well, as you can see in the updated agenda, we had a motion 4, but that was removed by the RCM staff as it was just an error. Moving on to motion 5. The be it resolved clause is that we discuss this conflict. It's kind of that we discuss this conflict within the board immediately in this meeting for the next few minutes until a mutually agreed upon time within reason. It's moved by Kit. May I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Robin. Kit, feel free to start the discussion or motivate or however.
Yeah, I can speak a little bit. I definitely have felt like a little like it's been hard to acclimatize to the way that we run the meetings and hard to find places for discussion in email and in the meetings. And so I did suggest to my portfolio member outreach that I do a survey to survey the directors and see how people were feeling about whether they were feeling heard in the meetings and if they felt engaged in the meetings and if they thought our voting process really was representative of the board of directors. But I didn't get a chance to do that, but it's still in the works. But then there was an email that was sent out by Marin after a meeting last month asking people to come to the meetings and as well as not speak to students on behalf of UVSS. And I just wanted to clarify some of that communication. Like I wanted to, I guess, kind of open the floor for discussion on those things because it is something that I want to include in the survey and get like people's feedback on how they're feeling, if they're feeling represented on the board, and if they're achieving the goals that they had, like when they wanted to join the board. And personally, I would like a bit more like clarity and communication. There's not a lot of communication between the board members, like as far as discussion or email conversation. So yeah, and it kind of all came to a head last week with the AGM proposal that was nixed at the last minute without consulting with the board. And I just really, this isn't the spirit of democracy that I joined the board in. And it was kind of starting to get under, like interfere with my ability to like do the other parts of being a board member. So I wanted to bring it up to everyone and hopefully we can, hopefully that's not too long or TMI, but hopefully we can pass this motion and discuss this and find a way to resolve these conflicts and open passage for communication.
Thanks, Kit. Just so everyone is clear, what is the be it resolved for this? Is this opening the discussion now and we're having the discussion now, or is this setting a time at which to have this discussion?
Yeah, it's just having the discussion now, and we can decide sort of collaboratively if we want to, I don't know, strike a committee or have someone work on it or assign it staff. I know, so I'm just put there to just.
Okay, I think you cut out a little bit for me. I don't know if you cut out for everyone.
Just putting it out so that we can discuss it here and now, and then once, yeah, just now.
Sure, sounds good. I will leave my remarks to near the end, or because I'm not technically supposed to get involved in discussion as the chair, but if something comes up, I will put my X in the chat. But discussion's open if folks want to speak. I'll just read. Delisha has something in the chat, and I'll just say. Or does someone else want to read that out? I don't know. I'm trying to stay really impartial. Yeah, Q.
In the chat, oh, unless Delisha wants to say, well, she typed it, so I assume not. Okay. Delisha says, sorry, what conflicts? I feel like the emails I've seen have been very clear, and I appreciate, for example, Marin saying she would be online to answer any questions, etc. It seems like people are just doing the best they can with the limited capacities they have at this time.
Thanks, Q. Dip, you're first on the speakers list.
Yes, so I think this motion should be discussed, but not over here. I think this motion is a very good place to discuss in camera. since it relates to internal board communications, because it can be misunderstanding or whatever. It also names a person or a position in this motion, so I would be very off actually discussing this online, and I'd like to motion to move this in camera.
So there's a motion to move in camera. May I have a seconder for this motion? Delisha, thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion to move this conversation in camera? That's where we're headed now, or that's where the conversation is now. Cute.
Does that mean we would talk about it at the end of the in-camera portion, or right now, all the folks who need to log off would have to log off now for it to move it into in-camera to talk about it now?
Marielle, did you have a?
Yeah, sorry. Okay, if we're gonna move in camera, may we do my motion really quickly? Just so, because it's out of camera and it's uncontroversial. It's just about clubs, and then no one needs to leave, come back. Yeah.
Yeah, so just in terms of that, we can't really get out of where we are right now until we figure it out, just in terms of how like meetings run. So I think that if the motion to move this in camera carries, then we would just move it in camera, move on quickly to Marielle's, and then hop into in camera. Does that make sense for the logistics of the meeting? Just because we have to do all of our voting before we just hop somewhere else really quickly in terms of the rules of order. Trying to follow that cue.
Would Dip be open, and Kathleen or whoever, to motion for us to chat about this in the in-camera session so that we don't have to go back and forth and all those things? Is that, sorry, I think you just said that, but it was unclear for me.
Dip.
What I can do is motion to move this in camera at the end of this meeting. Would that sentence be okay as a motion? And I'm looking at everyone over here, the chair, as well as Kathleen.
I think that makes sense in terms of the logistics of our meeting. But yeah, any discussion on Dip's motion to move this motion into our in-camera portion of the meeting? Okay, please vote on Dip's motion to move this motion into the in-camera portion of our meeting. Sorry, I'm trying to explain that as well as I can. Thank you, everyone.
Sorry, I was kicked off the Zoom. What are we voting on?
Sorry, Nigel, we're voting on the Dip's motion to move motion 5 into the in-camera portion of our meeting. So we'll just talk about it in a few minutes or so. All right, that motion carries. Thank you, everyone. So we'll move on very briefly to motion 6, which is moved by Marielle. Be it resolved that the following club is ratified without funding: the Uvic Car Club. That's a nice club. May I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Nigel. Marielle, would you like to motivate?
No, just car people wanting to talk about car things.
Sounds fun. Any discussion on this motion at all? Just car things. Seeing none, please vote on motion 6, ratifying the car club without funding. This motion carries. Thanks, folks. All right. May I have a mover to motion to move in camera? I'm sorry, this part's always a bit confusing for me. Nigel, I'll take you as the mover and Q as the seconder. And so now we say goodbye to our folks who are not part of the UVSS board or excluded management. Thanks for coming. Bye, folks.
Wait, I thought excluded needed to stay.
Yeah, sorry. The folks who are not board members or excluded. Or once we vote. Oh my goodness. Once we vote. Please vote. Sorry, I got excited. Thank you. This motion carries. Do we stop recording now?